of the tunnel. Just hang on.
Nice reference to the first game. I mean, to Metal Gear Solid 4. Shit, not again.
Gotta try hard at that. Oh. You want to practice first? This is what happens when you bring a tool to a sword fight. It's over. Lucky devil.
Kept you waiting, huh? Down you go! Flash! How is it, Ryder?
So far, so good. I've got a clean visual.
A direct feed to your optic now. Yes, I should hope so, huh? I mean, how does it feel? To fly like a bird?
Like a bird strapped to a remote control rocket.
We will get you in safely, Tovarich. Just relax and enjoy the ride.
Right.
Can you hear me, Raiko?
Doctor.
Remember the two procedures to maintain your new body. 1. Seizing nano repair units from foes. And 2.
Absorbing their electrolytes. I got it.
Yes, enemy cyborgs should provide plenty of MCFC electrolytes once you slice them open and extract their fluids.
They're terrorists. I was planning on that anyway.
Oh, and their left hands, if you please.
Excuse me?
Their combat data stored on holographic memory, typically located in the left hand. That data is very valuable. I am authorized to offer you upgrades and services in exchange for it.
How generous.
Ich liebe Kapitalismus. Had the world come down a few years earlier, I would have a Nobel Prize on my shelf.
There, I see land.
3 mics out and closing. No activity at the airbase. Looks like we don't need to worry about interceptors.
Great. Then we have time for a quick briefing.
I know you miss me, Kev, but I've been all over the materials.
That's what you said before Montenegro. Look, just humor me, buddy. Objectives, of course, are enter Abkhazia, neutralize the terrorists, and restore the rightful government, or what's left of it anyway. The president and most of the cabinet have been killed, and a military junta's been established. The terrorists brain-jacked all the high-ranking officers, and their cyborgs scattered the rank and file. The few leaders who have survived have no way of openly opposing the new regime. That's why they called us.
Andrei Dolzaev, leader of the occupation forces, an extremist linked to both the St. Petersburg massacre of 2015 and last year's terror spree in Georgia. And his arms supplier, none other than Desperado Enforcement, LLC.
Imani's killers.
If we don't stop them here, they could destabilize the entire region. But our more immediate problem is Jetstream Sam. I believe you've met.
The only problem I see is that nickname.
I've got my enhancements this time. He won't be an issue.
He may not even be in country. But keep an eye out just in...
Oh, sorry.
Ready for insertion.
And the classic Metal Gear pose.
Raiden, you landed safely, da? First, head inland. The waypoint is marked on your Soliton radar. Contact us on Codec if you have questions.
Okay, let's start listening to what they have to say.
Raiden, shall we review the capabilities of your new body?
Copy that. Go ahead, Doc.
As we discussed, you've been outfitted with two revolutionary new abilities.
Fuel electrolyte absorption and self-repair from C's nanopaste.
Precisely. First, electrolyte absorption. This is simplicity itself. As your HF blade is linked directly to your fuel cells, simply cut into any source of electrolytes. Say, a hostile cyborg made up of CNT muscle fiber. And your fuel cells will recharge on their own. Rather elegant, wouldn't you say?
I would indeed. It's been great so far.
But the repair process is a bit more involved. A bit more messy, you might say. Most military cyborg models store a cache of biotic self-repair nanopaste in their lower abdomen.
So I need to slice them open and use Zandatsu to extract it. Cut and take, in other words.
Correct. Once extracted, you need only to crush this unit in your hand to absorb the repairing agent inside. Keep in mind, it is extremely delicate. If the unit should hit the ground, some paste will surely leak out. It will still repair your body, but less so than if you can retrieve it directly before your foe falls over.
Basically, harvest their organs before their body can even hit the ground.
Rather gruesome, I realize. But then you Americans enjoy a bit of gore, don't you?
I may be a citizen, but I've never really thought of myself as American.
Oh? Well, yes, I suppose I could understand that given your history. But what then? Surely you don't identify as a Liberian.
I don't identify with anyone. No nation, no ethnic group. I'm my own man. Anyway, I seem to recall those gory torture porn movies were pretty popular in Germany, too.
Indeed, indeed. These splatter films are big in Germany, Russia, Japan, everywhere. Well, everywhere except regions afflicted by actual warfare. It all has to do with taming our fears, you know?
Huh?
The desire to feel fear, to taste death, but from a safe distance. These films allow the viewer to delude themselves into thinking they have overcome their fears. This...
Okay, Doc, I got the gist. Let's save the full psych lecture for some other time, though, huh? So these self-repair units and the other cyborgs, they mean they can heal themselves at any time?
Indeed. It is typically a slow process. Not much faster than a regular human body heals a wound.
And you didn't think it was a good idea to give me one of these things?
Certainly not. We removed all extraneous options in your case to maximize power and speed, you know.
Healing wounds is extraneous?
Your ability to absorb the nanopaste agent is far more efficient, Raiden. With it, your wounds heal almost instantly.
I know, but...
And the standard repair unit, once depleted, is nothing but an empty shell inside you. Dead weight.
I get that, Doc, but it also means I need to constantly be grabbing them out of enemies.
No, it doesn't. Don't be silly. Simply avoid taking damage and you will be fine.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah, just avoid damage.
How is your eye, Raiden?
Great. My sight's perfectly balanced between both eyes. I think my vision's improved, actually.
Quite right. Quite right. Your eye patch houses an artificial compound eye unit. The unit contains over 200 million solid-state image sensors, each with its own individual lens.
200 megapixels, huh? Doesn't sound like all that much.
More than sufficient for the application. A human's optic nerve has only about 1 million fibers, you know. Were we to add more sensors, your perceived vision would not improve. There's only so much modern image compression technology can do.
Huh. So I shouldn't expect any more dramatic improvements to my eyesight?
No, your brain would no longer be able to process any more visual information in real time. Still, compared to previous ACEs, yours has 1.4 times the resolution and a superior compression algorithm.
It may only result in a slight perceived change, but it could wind up making the difference during a mission.
Regrettably, I have not had enough time to develop a new eyeball unit just yet. Thus, I have cut out the ability to deploy the ACE unit separately and simply installed it on a fixed eye patch.
Works for me. If I was using an eye unit, I wouldn't see any better than a regular human.
Ah, but remember, the human eye is so much more than a simple light receptor. They play a vital role in person-to-person communication. Sooner or later, you'd miss it.
Stuff like that's important for some tasks, sure. For this op, not so much. And with less moving parts, the lower the chance of something going wrong. Besides, I like it.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear this.
I can worry about how I look after I complete the mission.
Yeah, we're just going over the codec calls right now before we continue.
Stay vigilant, Raiden.
Okay, Forrest.
Control, it's Raiden. I'm on the ground.
Copy, Raiden. Glad to hear it. Entering on foot was the right move. That craft isn't equipped with stealth camo. Or octo camo, obviously, since that would be useless in midair.
And we wouldn't want to get your pricey new jet damaged, now would we?
Duh. The MQ-133C was not cheap, Tovarich. Now, keep alert. According to intel, you could find significant cyborg deployment here. If you were to be cornered by an entire squad, it might get difficult, even for you.
Understood. Some fighting will be necessary, though. I've got electrolytes to replenish.
This is not an infiltration mission. There is no need to hide or avoid combat outright, huh? Just do not get reckless. Stay safe, and stay focused on your mission. There is always a chance the MQ was spotted before your drop-off. I would not be surprised if hostile cyborgs were already en route to your position.
A little welcoming party wouldn't be so bad. I could use a warm-up.
Enough with the attitude, Raiden. It's time to be serious. This is no game. I need you to focus. Many people are counting on you, and I don't just mean here at Maverick.
You don't need to remind me of that.
Good. The last thing we need is another clever cowboy shipped back to us in pieces. On Codec is fine. Just be sure you are serious on the battlefield. Your enemies will be.
Yes, sir.
Raiden, we are clear on the rules of engagement, yes?
Clear enough. I can use deadly force against any hostile elements. Hostile cyborgs, I can strike first.
Basically, yes. The actual rules of engagement is more specific. A long list of no's. But you have the idea.
You want to recap the highlights for me?
No weapons prohibited by international treaty. No use of force against non-combatants, especially officials or anyone with political power who may be needed for negotiations. No use of force against any unarmed hostile seeking to surrender. And no use of force against any non-cyborg combatants without prior verbal warning.
And that includes Dolzaev?
Duh, but this should not be a problem. Any non-cyborg is little threat to you, Dolzaev included. Besides, We have no signs of any non